Does having a surgical abortion stop one from having, sorry, I was still reading, another message came in. Does having a surgical abortion stop one from having future pregnancies, or does it lead to miscarriages?
So what the person, okay, surgical, to explain what surgical abortion is terminating a pregnancy using surgical means. For example, they are referring to evacuation. They suck out the pregnancy products instead of using medicine.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
okay,
so that is what he's referring to.
Okay.
Compared to medical method, surgical method, especially those which involve curating, where you need to use instruments to scrape the uterus, those are associated with a higher risk of forming scars. It doesn't mean that you definitely will have a problem. Yeah, but your chance of getting a problem will just be a little bit more than if you use the medicine for it.
Okay.
But if your periods are normal and you're not having any issues for now, you haven't delayed to conceive, there's no need to worry. But in case you are worried, you can go for an evaluation.
Thank you.
There are standard things which can be done.
Thank you. Good evening, doctor. What causes PCOS? Can one have a normal sex life and have children?
With PCOS?
Yes, with PCOS.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, as I said, it's also another scientific question. We want to first explain what PCOS is. PCOS is PCOS. They just pronounce it in form of an acronym, PCOS, which is P is for poly, C is for cystic, O is ovarian syndrome. Yeah. Now, this condition is typically characterized by a disorder in the ovary. That's where the problem is, where the eggs grow, but they don't mature. So they grow a bit and they don't mature and they form small cysts in the ovary. And that's why it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. So
do they come out or they just get stuck within the ovary?
They remain there, they remain stuck there, they remain stuck. So for you to say it is syndrome, it must have the cyst there, but also there must be a symptom outside. For example, the period being not regular, or I mean somebody is missing periods, or the person has a hair distribution like the one of men, and so there must be some additional feature for you to say this is polycystic ovarian syndrome. Now, the biggest challenge with polycystic ovarian syndrome, the PCOS, is ovulation. They usually have problems with the ovulation. They don't ovulate, or they ovulate irregularly. That's the thing. But some people can conceive. But most good thing is that if there is no other problem and it's only PCOS, you can be supported to ovulate. The treatment is simple and you can get a pregnancy.
Thank you so much, doctor. Yeah. Another one is saying, good evening, doctor. My husband was diagnosed with azoospermia, but the doctor said chances of me getting pregnant are narrow. What can I do? 2, does ultrasound scan determine whether your tubes are blocked or not? This is Suraya from Mukono.
So that's, she has asked there like almost 3 questions. 3 questions. So let's try to look at it and see if we can help her. So the first concern here is azoospermia.
The husband,
Now, azoospermia is a condition where there are no sperms in the fluid that are analyzed. This is the medical term, azoospermia. This is just what it means. The man has provided this fluid and has been analyzed in the laboratory and they did not find any sperms at all. Now, there are 2 things there. When there are no sperms in the fluid, either the sperms are not being produced or they are being produced and they are not being delivered. Now, usually when a diagnosis of azoospermia is made, that is the first question that should be answered. Are they being produced or not? And they do that by doing hormones. The doctors know that. So by looking at the hormones, they will say, okay, yeah, they are being produced and they're not coming out, or they're not being produced at all. Yes. Now, if they're being produced and they're not coming out, in most cases, that means there's blockage of the tubes somewhere. And those tubes are too tiny to be rectified. But such a person can be helped to conceive. We have IVF for them.
Okay.
You can extract the sperms from where they are produced and you do IVF with assisted fertilization and the person gets a pregnancy.
Okay.
Completely like any other person. Okay. That's fine. But if they are not being produced, then another question has to be answered. If they are not being produced, is the factory still having the potential to produce it? again by analyzing the hormones. So if the factory is still having the potential to produce, you can give some medications and you reactivate the factory and the sperms continue to start being produced. But sometimes it's a difficult question you may not know.
True.
So empirically, if the hormone levels show that there is no active production of sperms, usually we try to give the medication and give a period of like 3 months and to see if the conditions stabilize.
Thank you.
Yeah.